Well, as we talked about the other day, if you remember, this was a 2x4 mud seal which supports the floor joist, subfloor, bottom plate of your studding, and then of course your window. Well, now here I've taken to where I have rotted out the bottom of this mud seal, so we're only maybe a half an inch instead of an inch and a half. So in other words, this thing's dropped. This whole stud wall has dropped, which in turn the brick has not. The brick has stayed in the same place. So what it does, it pushes up the outside of the sill and the subsill. So what has to be done now is that we can't put an inch and a half back in there with 3/4 on top of it, because that's about 2 1/4 inches. So what we're probably going to have to do is either eliminate both of these and put in just one, whether it be a 1 inch or an inch and a half. So in this case, what we're going to do, is we're going to eliminate both of them and just put, it's probably going to end up being a 1 inch in this particular situation, even though we're going to use just a regular 2x8. A 2x8 is what you want to use, because a 2x6 would only come back to about right there. Well, then you can't get your window stool on the inside on there. So we got to have something that'll reach all the way back to the inside of this window frame. So that's why we need to use a 2x8. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to go out there and cut out this stuff, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to work this in. This is a little bit more difficult than what we've been doing. So this is going to take you probably about twice as long, because there's so much stuff that you got to do, plus the inside of the window stool is going to have to come off. But it's easier if you take it off. Of course, that means taking a bunch more stuff off it on the inside. That's why I say this is a lot more difficult. And then we're going to set everything up on 10 degrees. You know, window sills go all the way from years and years and years ago, from about 7 degrees all the way up to nowadays. Every once in a while you'll see one at 15 degrees. The faster you can get that water off of the window sill, the faster it's going to dry out, less chance of rotting. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get this out the easiest way possible. Same way with a subsill. We're just going to cut everything out, get everything out of the way. But when we do this, now it's going to change, because now we're going to have to support the sill on the framing, because once we cut everything out, we won't have anything to nail to or screw to or anything. Hey, you see we got them big old honker nails down here. I mean, we're lucky to be able to push these out of our way, because what we have to do now, we've got to cut this ledge out of here, plus we have to come over to the same height as this blind stop and cut this off too. So we have to cut here and this on each window all the way across. Okay, this is going to be a little exaggerated, but what you want to do, you want to make sure that the cut part of the 2x8 is facing down toward the framing and the other part facing up, because you don't want this down there collecting water. Even though this is going to be at a 15-degree angle, you just don't want to have any chance of this thing collecting water. Okay, now, oh, and another thing too, you can see how warped this 2x4 is, and there again, you want to make sure that the high point is facing up. Don't take a chance of this part facing up, because it's a possibility it could collect water. But in any case, you can search through the 2x and find a good one anyway. I mean, this thing's going to be screwed to the framing, so no matter what's happening to it, it'll straighten itself out. One side I'm going to freehand with my skill saw, and the other side I'm going to use on the table saw to get our 15-degree angle cuts on the front and the back. So I'm going to do the table saw first, because that's going to be a straight cut.